Any chance you'll move back to America? You could be like a conservative Oprah Winfrey. You got that it deal.
I wish I could find a friend group that didn't think women should vote. That would be the best friend group ever.
If Tommy Lauren had your brains, she'd be something. There's a intelligence to what you're doing that most people, whether men or women, just don't have. And you emote innocence and purity. And it makes you more attractive.
All right, do you remember who this girl is?
Do I remember what?
Who this young girl is?
Pearl?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember her.
Yeah, you like her? Do you know much about her? Probably not.
I know a little bit about her. I feel like she's like pro-men.
Maybe a little bit.
A lot of it.
Pearl went on to Jason Whitlock's show, and actually I don't know. I think I used to like Jason Whitlock. I'm not sure. I think he went through something a couple years ago that I actually did support him on. I can't remember what it is right now. But just in watching this interview, there's a lot of things that I honestly kind of don't really like about Jason Whitlock anymore. And the thing is that, so after I watched this interview, this is not the only interview I watched, because I watched a follow-up interview, then I watched another interview with him. And I'm not saying I don't like him as a person. I don't particularly care for his views, is what I'm saying. And so throughout this interview, it was almost like he was sucking just Pearly's toes throughout the whole interview. So there was really no pushback in this interview. And since there was no pushback in the interview, as the interview went on, I kind of started to think that there was either one or two things. One, he either was agreeing with just Pearly, or he was waiting to the end to push back on it just so she can get her views out. And neither one of those happened. And so, actually, I won't say neither one of those happened. The agreement with Pearly did happen. The pushback on her views did not happen. So anyway, I'll just let you take a look at it and see what you think.
How would you describe yourself?
It's a good question. I would just say that I run a show about relationships.
So the first thing I would like to say is that somebody that runs a relationship show that is not in a relationship. Now here's the thing. She may be in a relationship that we don't know about.
I thought she was.
What? With who?
I don't know. I thought like the last video she was in a relationship, but maybe I just made that up in my head. I don't know.
I think you probably did, because the thing is there's been no visible sign of any man being around her. Now, even though she does cater to men, there's been no visible sign other than the people that work for her that she employs as far as the males being around her.
It seems like you have, over the past year, maybe even the past 6 months, like discovered, like, no, this is my lane. This is what I'm leaning into. As it relates, and here in the past few months, you've been very critical of the feminist movement.
He just said, I heard you're against the feminist movement, but everything about the feminist movement, it seems she is benefiting off of, because she is a woman that is employing men, and it is actually catering to men and has a huge following of men, that she is actually being gifted because of this whole feminist movement that has happened in the past. That she is actually, I don't know, kind of like the icing on the cake too. So, but anyway.
I actually think I'm more conservative than most conservatives. I think I'm like an extremist.
Were you familiar with Rush Limbaugh at all? And does that help explain any of your anti-feminist views?
No, I've heard his name a lot. I listened to Rollo Tomasi a good amount. And I think he kind of came from that school of thought, because I've heard of Rush Limbaugh, but I've never actually listened to his stuff. Sorry, I don't know him, but yeah.
Do you know who Rush Limbaugh is?
No.
You don't know who Rush Limbaugh is? Okay, so I have to admit. All right, so growing up is that I have listened to all these people. I have listened to Rush Limbaugh. I've listened to Sean Hannity. I've listened to, used to listen to Alan Combs. Alan Combs was a big leftist. I used to listen to those guys. To say that you are more conservative than the most conservative person, I would say that's one of those catch lines. Because here's the thing. If you really are conservative, I think you would know who Rush Limbaugh is.
Right.
But other than that, I would say is that to not know what the basis of the conservative movement is, as far as Rush Limbaugh and people like that, it's like, how can you say that you're more conservative than the most conservative? And then to say that you're getting your talking points from Rollo Tomassi, which I don't know how conservative he is, but that the thing is that he's not a political person. And so he's supposed to be a dating relationship person. So it doesn't make sense to me.
I would think many people over the past couple of months would agree with that when you start talking about taking away the right to vote for women. And
Yes.
It's like when you first say that, it makes your mouth drop. But then when someone like me thinks about it, it makes total sense. It really does. What we've done with the vote is we've disempowered the family. And that women used to not vote because the vote actually represented the family. Now the vote represents individuals. And so, I read your tweets and see some of your videos, and I'm like, hold on, this woman is really well researched. Is there someone mentoring you, helping you? Or is this all just 26-year-old Pearl doing her own research and talking with her own friend group?
So I'm going to have to tell you. So as I watched this interview, near the end, it did get a little cringe to me. And the reason why I got a little cringe is because...
Wait, you think he's getting like flirty?
I almost felt like he was vetting her to find out who was in her background.
Huh.
Here's what I would say. As far as an older man talking to a younger woman, some of the questions that he was asking, I'm sorry, they were just a little... He asked her if she was coming back to America because she's in England right now.
Yeah.
And then they got to a point where they were like, he was like, some of the things that you talk about older men liking younger women, that's right up my alley.
Oh.
Because he was basically saying, as far as my background, I do have a thing for younger women. He kept giving her a lot of compliments. And with giving her a lot of compliments, it wasn't a real interview. It was like, you didn't push back on anything that she said. I mean, even if you believe, a lot of things that she is saying, why not, press her to see, to go into more depth? Because it was a very shallow, surface level interview where she was just saying everything she wanted to say, and there was no pushback and no depth about the interview.
Maybe because he's like, this is the kind of wife I need.
I don't know, but
I would be king.
or he is vetting her to become a part of his network.
That's what I was wondering. Yeah, more like a partnership or whatever.
I wish I could find a friend group that didn't think women should vote. That would be the best friend group ever. I first started researching the anti-suffragettes, right? And I found out only 5% of women wanted to vote, and I thought that was weird. And then I started thinking, what are women better at than men? I've been researching for months. I can't think of anything. Because then I was like, do men pay the majority of the taxes? I was like, oh my gosh, they do. They do the majority of the infrastructure. They're the majority of the military. I was like, every business that we need in society, they run, which I've heard from, a couple different people.
She's on this kick about women should not have the right to vote. Ultimately, what do you feel about that?
I mean, I'm kind of on the fence. I feel like everybody has the right to vote, but I feel like you shouldn't really vote unless you took the time to pay attention to see who's running and put some thought into it. Just don't vote to vote. Vote for a purpose, because otherwise I feel like it skews the results.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I think that can be said on both sides. I think that can be said on the Republican side, and that can also be said on the Democrat
and men,
side.
women, some families, maybe it's the wife that sits home and she watches and she pays attention, and the guy wants nothing to do with the politics. Maybe they both do, or maybe they both don't. But I feel like if you don't feel strongly about your vote one way or the other, then probably just sit it out.
And to be honest with you, if you even think about the vote, most people are voting for the big elections. Most people are not voting for it. Most people don't know who their local leaders are.
Right.
I do, because I've been going through different things with the town that we live in, and so I've been having to reach
Call your
out
senator.
to. Yeah, look, no, I haven't been calling my senator. Look, I've been calling my look.
Yeah.
We've had some problems with some of the land that we have, as far as getting structures put on some of the land we have, and so I've been going back and forth. And I actually have a meeting with the city council. I think it's on the 7th. But anyway. But the thing is, what really matters a lot of times is your local elections. But a lot of people vote on the big elections, and they'll vote just straight ticket. Having the right to vote is a privilege, because there's a lot of people in a lot of countries that don't even have the right to vote. We have daughters. And so basically what they're trying to say is that women shouldn't have the right to vote unless they're in a family, and that the family vote should come through the man. And so basically what you're trying to say is that all men should be in control of all the votes right now. And let's just be honest. What if you're a woman that you didn't get married? Should you not have the right to vote, even though you do contribute to society? Let's just say that you are just a person that's contributing to society in any way. Should you not have a right to say what goes on in that society? What happens if a woman, gets a divorce from a man?
Yeah.
Does she lose the right to vote at that point in time?
Right.
What if she doesn't believe the same thing that she does, that the man in the family does believe? Does she lose her right for representation? There's a lot of problems in this thing that I don't agree with. And to be able to hear spouting this type of stuff, and for Jason Whitlock to agree with this, because I did listen to another interview with Jason, and he actually, we're talking to some other guys, some other so-called Christian guys, actually believe this. And anything that she says going forward, take out women and insert black people. And the reason why I say, because she's going to go on this spout where she's going to say is that women are a smallest percentage of that. Women are a small percentage of this. And so because men are a more percentage of doing this, of doing the hard labor jobs, of going to war and different things like that, is that they should have more of a right to vote. And it should be taken away from women because they have a smaller percentage of that. Black people are 13% of the population. And so take out women, insert black people, and we're in the same boat because we are a smallest percentage of the United States population. Should we also lose the right to vote? That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. I feel like anybody who pays taxes in this country should have the right to vote. And especially right now, women, I mean, there's so many topics on women's rights. It wouldn't be fair for all men to vote for women on what they can and can't do with their body.
The female representation versus the male representation in most politics, is it still overly skewed men that are in most male politic places, that are mostly city council, that are mostly, work your way up to the president. How many women presidents have we had? And so you can say this, but who is passing these laws? They're men. And so regardless of what you say, if you can take away the women vote all you want to, is that there's a lot of these men that are married, because most of your city councilmen on up to your senators and yada, 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 are married. And so do you think that these men don't have women in their background talking to them?
These HR departments that are catering towards the women, all these grants that are catering towards the women, all the schools that are catering towards the women. Like, why do we have this whole system built towards women? The vote. Because women vote, and none of the politicians can win without the women voting. And that was how I came to that conclusion.
Like I said, take everything that she's taken out and insert black people.
Are you religious? That was the other question that has floated across my mind. Are you a Christian? Are you a believer?
So I'm a Catholic, but I would say I'm maybe like a once a monther,
A lot of things you say are consistent with a biblical worldview, but I never hear you talk about God. And that's what made me say, well, how can she know these things and believe these things so strongly if she doesn't have a biblical worldview? But I guess you can, or maybe you do. Part of me looks at you and thinks that she doesn't know it yet, but she has a very biblical worldview, and the truth that you're looking for, you're going down these rabbit holes, they're all in the Bible. You don't have to look much further in the Bible.
So she's Catholic. Hey, listen, I don't know much about the Catholic religion, but she's about as Catholic, I'm assuming, as you are now. That's not a slight, but...
I'm not a one-monther, but... I'm Catholic. I'm not even a Easter. I don't go on Christmas and Easter.
I don't know. She's got a lot of, strongly held religious views. If this is what the religious community believes now, with all these sects of church, it's like, who are making these laws and these are these ordained by God, or is this because some man? Okay, all right. So I'm not. So I
another video. It's another topic, another day when we don't have to meet people.
Beauty thing. it doesn't really matter if you think women are the most like beautiful in their 30s, because like from a fertility point of view, men are like biologically predispositioned to like younger women. They've even done it on like scent tests.
I certainly am aware that, you know, men like younger women, and I'll plead guilty to that. And, you know, my dating history speaks to all of that.
Creepy. Throw that out there too. I got experience. No, he's creepy. You're right. My dating experience.
It just got a little like,
Yeah, she sat back in her chair like, whoa, okay.
I think women would be married sooner if, you know, we realized that at 35 we're not hot. As hot, sorry, 35-year-olds, as hot.
But how do you respond to the people that say, well, Pearl's not hot enough to be making that point?
Well, my hotness doesn't dictate the hotness of the market. So it's like, I always say, I think I'm an average looking chick. I can live with that. It's like, I don't care. But it's the fact that if you're a 5 today, you'll be a 4 in 10 years. If you're a 7 today, you'll be a 6 in 10 years.
I don't know about that. I feel like I get better with age.
I mean, listen.
I feel more comfortable.
I think for a lot of women, they get more comfortable as they age, and that's why people will say women are more free with their sexuality as they get older, because there's a lot of religious things, there's a lot of social things that are placed upon women as they're growing up, that they shouldn't do this or shouldn't do this. And when you see the women that actually go against that, they are called 3 or 4s, or they're called hoes in their 20s. My thing on this is, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but Pearl is an average by Kevin Samuel standards. Listen, but drink a little bit. But Pearl is average by Kevin Samuel's standards, so she would be a 5. If you're a 5, and from what she's saying is that 10 years later you will be a 4, would a person starting off as a 7 still not 10 years later look better than Pearl being a 4 if they're a 6? She has enough humility, and it's good marketing too to say that she's an average chick. But at the same time, it's like these things that they plot against grabs is like, you know, when you're in the 30s, you know, you're hitting the wall and things like that. But if you're in your 30s and you're an 8, you start as an 8 or 9 in your 20s. I mean, you're still in your 30s, and in your 40s, still 7 or 6. I mean, to their standards, better than half the women out there. And so, I mean,
and then what? Your 40s, you may be a 6. Your 50s, you're still a 5. You're still better than half the population.
We're just going by your standards that you're giving right now.
Like the T-shirt I want to order, still hot, just comes in flashes.
Oh Jesus! Okay. Anyway, you wear that with your friends out.
An observation or realization that you've actually helped me come to, and this relates to your own beauty. And keep in mind, I'm certainly old enough to be your dad, and so I'm not trying to flirt with you or hit on you.
Okay. If you have to say that, then you are.
Maybe you shouldn't be saying what you're about to say.
Yes. Oh gosh, disclaimer. Not
That's
needed.
what I'm saying. Like, to me, it just got a little cringe. But okay, let's see what he's gonna say though.
I'm talking to you like a dad would talk to his daughter. There's a beauty that comes from innocence and purity. And again, I'm talking to you like a dad talking to his daughter.
My dad has never said that to me.
I don't know. This interview is just a little. I don't know. I said I don't know where he's going with this.
You emote innocence and purity, and it makes you more attractive.
I'm just saying, like, from a guy, like, when I hear that, it's like, you feel like I can take advantage of you.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
Anyway.
tear that up.
And one of the things you're arguing and talking about when you talk about body counts for women and how they've adopted a whore's mentality, they're undermining their beauty by sacrificing their innocence and purity.
That would be interesting if anybody's ever asked Pearl her real body count. Now, she's not a virgin, And she's admitted she's not a virgin.
If she's Catholic and she goes to church once a month, then her body count should be 0.
So, I've been to college, played sports in college, knew a lot of women athletes in college. What I would say is that the college that I went to is that the women athletes, not all of them, but a lot of them acted like the male athletes. Meaning that, yes, we had neighboring colleges that would come to our college. I ended up having some volleyball team members, and I think she plays volleyball, that actually got trapped. But not just, they got left and they ended up staying in my room one night. And it was a whole bunch of them. And so, listen, I'm sorry. Some of these volleyball players, they were taller than I was.
Oh, yeah.
And they wanted to get frisky, and I was like, no, you're not manhandling me in this dorm room.
You're in the corner in fetal position, wrapped tight in a blanket like a burrito.
Listen, the only thing I'm saying is that I don't think anybody's ever asked Pearl her real body count.
Why don't you ask her?
I ain't got no.
Call her out. Ask her.
I don't want to know. I don't want to know because
I'm curious.
I'm not. Listen, I have a guess, but I'm not.
I have a guess too.
You're emoting a purity and an innocence and it comes, and part of me was like, is this a performance? Is this an act? Is she really this? Naive is the only word I can think of at the moment, but it's not the exact word that I'm looking for. But it just made you gorgeous in terms of like the way you interacted with that song and came off like, and I'm wondering if you recognize the power of innocence and purity and how it just makes a person more attractive or makes a woman more attractive.
He's just laying on thick, ain't he? Right, this sounds like pickup 101.
Gorgeous? That is a far stretch. I'm sorry.
I'm just saying.
Maybe she's just not my type, but I wouldn't call her gorgeous. I would call her like she calls herself, average.
So she's 26, but anybody that's in their 20s, I'm sorry. At me as my age right now, I am not going to be giving them compliments like that. I don't care. Like I'm sorry. I don't care if we're in church.
Yeah, because we have children that are that age.
We have children that are older than that.
That is gross.
And so I almost feel like this is getting almost on the borderline of being a tad bit inappropriate. But, this is just me.
I'm going to ask you a very personal question. Feel free to tell me, Jason, mind your own business.
Yeah, it gets worse.
I wonder if she recognizes anything that's happening right now.
I don't know. It gets worse, though. It's about to get worse. It's about to get worse. It's not much longer. We got to get ready to go.
We got to go.
I know, but it's about to get worse. I'm going to let you hear this.
The boyfriend that told you to rap to rap video, black guy?
Yeah.
Wait,
what? Wait, she had a black boyfriend?
Yeah, her boyfriend was black. Actually,
I did not see that coming.
Oh, I totally saw that. I saw that.
What?
Listen, I saw that before. So.
Okay, I don't believe her now.
No.
I was starting to believe everything she said, that she really believed what she kind of spews. But now I'm wondering.
No. The thing about me is that I've grown up around a lot of different communities. And there is...
How many different communities have you grown up around?
Well, what I'm saying is that I've been... What I'm saying is like...
Were you in the military? Did you move a lot?
No. And here's the thing. Black guys that... Okay. Black guys... You will be able to understand what I'm saying. Black guys that actually, you talk to black girls, but you also talk to other girls of other races. There's something that you can tell when a girl that's not black talks to black guys. There is. And here's the thing. That actually might be a better video. That might be a good video. I can peg a lot of women. It's weird. I can tell even if she hasn't never dated or been with a black guy, if she would.
You're like a median for...
I was. And so that's what I'm saying.
Medium?
Is like, I don't.
Medium or a median?
Median. I don't know. But anyway. But that's what I'm saying is like, I don't, like, it's not about somebody's skin color to me, because I talk to black women, I talk to white women, I talk to anybody. But the thing is that I just always had this kind of, but anyway, we're getting off subject.
Any chance you'll move into politics at some point?
Oh, you know what? I've always thought about running for an office, but really just trying to repeal the 19th, like getting us out of politics. Like I'm like, could I run for something so women can never run again. I realized that like so many problems come, women ruin, I had this realization, I'm like, we ruin every industry we get into because we're all about our feelings. We're like, we need everyone to be equal. No, that's not how the world is. It's hierarchy, whatever. And the men understand this. So I'm like, if I could run for something to take away our rights, I would swear I would do it.
Wow.
So at the end of the day, is that the whole feminist stuff is giving her the ability to actually, if she really wanted to, she could run for office.
Yeah, she'd get a lot of man votes, but she wouldn't get many women votes.
No, she wouldn't get a lot of man votes. Here's the thing. This online content is strictly online. And there's a lot of guys that are online that actually listen to her. One of the things that I've actually started to understand, and it's from listening to these Zerka videos and things like that, is that there are a lot of young, lonely guys that are out there. And growing up, I did not understand this because all my friends, like, be honest with you, is like we play sports and we never had a problem with talking to women. All of us were friendly with everyone because we were just nice guys. But I guess we probably didn't see that there were some guys that did not have good relationships with women because we didn't have any problems with it. But now that a lot of this online content is up, is that this is giving like, these guys that, we probably never paid any attention to that were having these issues going on back when I was in school. This is giving them a platform to reach out to people. And she is catering to a lot of these lonely guys. And this guy Zerko that you found out today too, he's catering to a lot of these lonely guys too. And it's that, I don't know, these guys are being led down a bad path. And the things that they are hearing and the things that they think are true 10 years from now, it's going to be interesting what happens 10 years from now from this online content that's going on right now. That's all I got to say.
Yeah.
Who do you like on the Republican side?
So we got to end up ending this video because we got to get ready to go out. So, but
Wait, who did she like on the Republican side?
Okay, okay. You really want to hear this because this was the dumbest thing I think.
I kind of think I might want to hear it.
Trump or
Whoever
DeSantis?
thinks women shouldn't vote. My dad really likes Rob DeSantis.
Okay, never mind.
Well, no. Let's get the guy's name right to begin with.
Yes.
Rob DeSantis. Like
DeSantis? From Florida?
It's Ron.
Yes,
Jesus
from Florida?
Christ. Yes. Ron. Rob.
Well, that's her dad. That's not her. That's her
But
dad.
she said she want to go into politics. At least know the people's names that you're... Rob.
I liked Trump. I just thought he was hilarious. Just as an entertainer alone, he was so funny.
So I'm gonna be honest with you. So I have changed
Please
my
do.
mind. I have changed my mind on the whole Trump thing. I hadn't changed my mind, but I
liking
have a different-
Biden again?
No, I'm not liking any one of them. But what I'm saying is that the whole Trump, the whole what's the Andrew Tate and things, is that listen, I don't know if they're net good for anything now because I'm now seeing a lot of these red pillars and a lot of these people right now online. They can't separate the entertainment from actuality.
Yes.
And
True.
I'm seeing that as a problem. I can separate the theater from,
Yes.
but these young people
It's a
can't do
job.
that.
Some people cannot, right.
And I'm starting to see the problems in that. It's like Andrew Tate is always looking for attention. Mm-hmm. Trump is always looking for attention. Andrew
It's
Tate,
a job. Cha-ching.
Yeah,
More followers
it's a
you
money-
have.
it's a money thing.
Say what people want to hear.
But I'm seeing these
Not
young
what you
people that
really
are spouting all this
believe.
stuff online now because they're the ones who have the platforms online. They're the ones that can get online, and they're the ones that other young people listen to. But they're spouting all this, be honest, bullshit.
But then
now.
it's like you have these news reporters who are bound to what they can say, and
I'm starting to see a lot of
certain
the
things
bad
they
stuff that's trickling off of this. Honestly, I'm starting to see a lot of bad stuff that's trickling off from what Kevin Samuels was saying too. Even though I could separate what Kevin Samuels, as far as the entertainment versus the actual message, I could separate that. A lot of these young people haven't had enough life experience to be able to separate that, and so
Right.
they're taking a lot of this stuff for like the Bible, like the straight fact. And honestly, a lot of this stuff is just fucking entertainment. It's like, I'm sorry, listen, this is my real stuff. I curse, but anyway.
A lot.
I'm a woman. We just watch things and just that's how we make our opinions. But I wouldn't say I know all the ins and outs of like policy and all that.
I understand the Pearl arc. I understand what's going on with Pearl, and I've kind of understood. Even though, so I had a video a long time ago.
Make it fast.
Yeah, make it fast. But I had a video a long time ago what came out. And honestly, I don't know if I took it down. It's like when Pearl started speaking to a lot of black people, as far as is that this black manosphere was starting to accept Pearl, and the black manosphere was lifting Pearl up as being this. I was like, okay, it's like, so you're saying this white, pure white, upper class lady,
Pearly white.
yeah, has more say than even. Listen, I don't care if you're black. I don't care, where you're from, as far as. But they were discounting a lot of black voices to listen to this white lady, and it's like, what the fuck are y'all doing? It's like, and then so the black manosphere lifted Pearl up, and then when she had this thing with Nick Fuentes on there, which is just, Nazi, yada yada, then they wanted to be all offended about it. And I was like, you guys created this. It's like you were lifting a white woman up in black spaces. That's supposed to be the black manosphere. It's like, and you gave her a pass, but then you were telling other black men, even though they had different opinions, like, here's the thing. I have different opinions about things, but because I have different opinions from the average black man, it's like, no, you should shut up. But you were lifting up a white woman, and this makes no sense. And then when she turned on you guys, when you felt like she turned on you guys, then you felt like this. And so the whole thing with Pearl has always been, for me, is like, she's in it for the money, and it's like Trump. It's like they're in it for the money. It's also like Andrew Tate. Andrew Tate's in it for the money. And people like that. I understand those people.
It's all the clowns over the top. It's all the people that act like clowns, like over the top.
But it's not clowns. They're very smart.
I feel like it's like a clown show. I mean, it's just over the top. It's just to the extreme.
Well, yeah, but they're very smart business people. And what I mean by business people, they're very savvy. It's like,
they say what people want to hear.
Good news is in the news. Bad news is in the news also. As long as you're in the news, that's all that matters. And so it's all a money grift. But the thing is that for us, is that as far as the black, what you want to call the black manosphere, you guys didn't understand that. And so now that she's moved on to this, mainstream media, a lot of black content creators are upset about that. But you were the first step that she stepped off of. And so, listen, you can't be upset with that, because even though you felt like you were used, you created this step that she stepped off of. She would have never been up there if it wouldn't have been for the black manosphere to begin with. And so, listen, she's going to keep on the rise, because here's my prediction. Here's what I think is going on. And we can go after this. What I think is going on with her, because Piers Morgan didn't push back on her that much at all either. And Jason Whitlock is not pushed back on her. She's going to end up doing something to get herself canceled. Just like Andrew Tate's got himself canceled. Just like Kevin Samuels on his rise, something ended up happening to him. Where did all of these men go? All these men that are below the radar, that are lonely, that are listening, because they're being propped up by people. Andrew Tate was being propped up by all these lonely men, all these so-called disenfranchised men and different things like that. Kevin Samuel was too. And where are these men going to go? If Andrew Tate goes to jail, which is, honestly, be honest with you, he has a great possibility of going to jail based on the crimes that he's been alleged to do.
Too, maybe? Trump? What about Trump?
Yeah, I mean, but Trump's political. I'm talking about just this online stuff.
Yeah.
Pearly's going to end up, she's already got her TikTok from what she said taken away. She's going to end up doing something that's going to end up possibly getting herself canceled. Where do all these young, disenfranchised men go? I think these media companies are trying to court them now. That's why they're not pushing back hard on her. That's my opinion. That's why they're not pushing back hard on her opinions, because they want to be a landing spot for all these men, because they're getting millions of views for this stuff. All this women bashing stuff online, all this women bashing stuff on YouTube, it's getting millions on top of millions of views. That's money. Yeah. These men are sending in super chats. These men are super chatting these people, are giving to these people platforms millions of dollars, and possibly could be billions of dollars. Somebody wants that money.
Yeah.
And so, in the end, listen, she might end up on some mainstream network at some point in time, but it all comes down to dollars. And when it comes down to dollars, and if she ends up getting canceled, somebody wants that audience that she has, because these people have created an audience, and somebody wants that audience captured. So I think that's what it is. But I don't know. Let's go out.